be like Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
It's the ending. It's the end battle of Beauty and the Beast. There's just like a wardrobe running around. Annyeonghaseyo. Welcome to Afternoona Delight. We're Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Hi there.
So at the time of this recording, Mercury is in retrograde for those that celebrate astrology, which, you know, I'm on the fence, but I have to say this Mercury in retrograde has hit hard. How about either of you? Have you feel like things have gone wonky?
Yeah. Absolutely. This week is terrible. It's ending wonderfully because I'm going to the Augustine concert on Friday in Chicago, and I'm so excited. And he's in Chicago at this very moment right now because his first concert is tonight, and I totally forgot about that. And then I saw him on Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, he's on like Lake Michigan. But my week is fucked right now. Like I don't even know how I got here. It's been raining for like 5 days, like straight. And my seasonal depression is just like, I mean, I am so apathetic and it's terrible. It's honestly bad. I need there to be some sun. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I really need sun.
Yeah. And I just feel like electronics and communications are meant to be things that can go awry in Mercury retrograde. And I just feel like stuff's just going completely like hog wired. And Amy called me out today because I called you both out about Our Blues in the Instagram.
Oh my gosh! Well, I was prepping it for I was prepping it for YouTube, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like, she never even said like we should do this for the pod. It was just like, "Fuck you guys for not watching." Like the whole
I never said fuck
the
you.
whole write up. No, it was an implied fuck you.
It wasn't fuck you. I just said you both. I tried to sell it to you. You both weren't sold apparently, so I am highly recommending it as a must-see drama, and everyone else should watch it.
I would like to read the write-up.
Well, this is not. Amy's like, this wasn't in the schedule, and I was like, God. No kidding, because I lead from behind. I'm not going to. I'm going to not force you.
Please let me read the write-up for today's show. In a previous podcast, Leah tried to sell Megan and Amy on a drama. She thought she made a pretty good case, but not good enough because neither of her co-hosts ever watched Our Blues. But you know who did? Our friend of the pod, Afternoona Asks host and founder of K-Drama This, Sarah. We refuse to let this beautiful, emotive, excellently written drama fly under the radar for one more day. No, but then skip to the end. Just because Megan and Amy are missing out doesn't mean you should. Let's rally, fam!
That's not an F you. That's saying very.
That is a call out, not a call in. I feel attacked because I want to watch this drama.
I'm crying.
But I have a very overwhelming life lately with other obligations and cannot watch something that is not for the pod.
Well, I will say that Our Blues has been out for a really, a long time now.
We watched stuff that came out years ago.
I know, but I'm just saying, you've been too busy for a year.
Yes. Yes, I have.
I've been too busy to take this in for an entire year. I just can't pencil it in. It's fine. Look, I don't know if it's your drama, and that's fine. I wasn't going to put it on the pod because, if you wanted to watch it, you would.
Is there a sad bastard mage in it?
No, but it's Kim Woo Bin is wearing
no, but there are
fisherman overalls.
Yeah, but he's not sad.
Which, by the way, I mentioned to Neil, I was like, look, Black Knight is coming up. That's the Kim Woo Bin drama that's very post-apocalyptic. And it's only 6 episodes, I think I saw as well, by the way. So I had said something to him a while ago. I was like, maybe this is a show we can watch together. And it was a while.
My son might watch it with me.
And then last night he turns to me and he's frowning at his phone. He's like, "Are you gonna watch this Black Knight show?" Like an old man.
How he talks?
And I was no.
I mean, we've heard Neil now. That's not how Neil talks.
That's not how he does. But I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Because I mentioned that drama 2 months ago that I wanted to watch it with you, and he's like, "Looks like it has a Mad Max vibe." And I was like, "I said that to you. I said those exact words to you." So he might. We'll see. Because he just finished watching Money Heist, the Spanish version, and like loved it. So I feel like he's like branching out from repeats of The Office. I'm really proud of him. So, yeah.
Speaking of which, and then we'll pivot, and I'm going to figure out how to connect this needle. Did you see like the funny video that Rainn Wilson made of
on the
being
plane?
In first, yeah, on the plane, and the guy across the aisle from him.
No,
was
sitting right
it.
next to him.
Oh, I thought he was across.
No,
the aisle.
he was right next to him.
Okay. Was watching The Office for like the majority of the plane ride. And like he was sitting there being like, do I say something?
Because he had a mask on, so you couldn't tell it was him.
Oh, okay.
So he said that he just started to slowly just pull the mask down over time. And like,
Dwight.
oh, and then he started talking to him. He was like, do you like the show or something? And he's like, yeah, it starts off slow, but it gets good or whatever. And he said as he was talking to him, he just kept pulling the mask down slower and slower until like, and he said it took a while until the guy was like brain explode. So yeah, just imagine we could be watching some K-drama on a plane and all of a sudden have somebody be like, so what do you think of Boys Over Flowers? I'm like, oh, it's toxic, but I like it. And then
it's like Eminho. Well, that's
and he's like, lick my boot.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's like Suga in Chicago like had a mask like around his neck while he was outside. So obviously he was wearing his mask. Imagine if you were on a plane next to
Here, I just want to speak to that because the video of him at Lake Michigan, he has a leopard print furry hat.
He does.
That I have gotten a replica of to wear as a knockoff to the concert. I was like, I could have been on Michigan Avenue in traffic, looked over at Lake Michigan and seen a short dude in black wearing that hat and been like, oh, it's Yoongi. Because that hat is like the most, like, I was like, you might as well just put an alarm on yourself and walk around like, hey.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, like, I know how the idols walk. Like, my, like, ATs, like, if I saw them in, like, full disguise, but walking on the street, I'd be like, oh, I know, because that's how Wooyoung walks, like, because I'm crazy. So I feel like I would know that.
By the way, I was telling my coworkers, we had a team lunch yesterday, and I was telling them, we were talking about concerts and stuff, and I was like telling them, oh, I'm going to this concert on Friday, and then I'm going to see the same concert in California in a couple weeks. And they're like, oh, who? And I said, it's August D, who is Suga from BTS. And they're like, someone, and one of the people I was with was like, isn't that like a boy band? I'm like, well, they're like in their late 20s, and like, many of them are 30. I'm like, so they're not really a boy band. And then I don't remember how the conversation continued, but they were all shocked that I wasn't going to this concert because of my 17-year-old daughter, that I was just going for me. I was like, oh, no. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of adult women who are fans of K-pop because K-pop is awesome. It's like, no. My daughter wants nothing to do with this concert. It's all me.
And I just want to mention, like, Backstreet Boys they're like still touring. So,
yeah. It's all good.
Yes. But I'm also not going to make that comparison. Like, it's a different comparison.
It is.
Comparison.
Not that I'm judging on it either. Like,
well, I guess my point is, like, it's okay to like a boy group, though, as an adult.
It is. There's not an age. There's not an age
Yeah.
limit for liking music.
Anything.
Yeah.
You can like whatever it is.
I think we're threading the needle here because there's not an age limit for liking a K-drama actor, no matter how old or young they might be.
I don't know if that's the needle I want to thread.
I could be a fan.
True. Yes.
Look, all I know is last night I finished this drama. So the first time I finished it at like 3 a.m. Last night I finished it at the 1:30 in the morning mark, and all I could think of in like the last hour was, dude does not look 24.
No. That's what I'm trying to say.
He looks 24 in Extraordinary You, which I'm watching right now, where he's actually 19. So, yeah.
He's an old soul. Which threads the needle.
Oh, there you go.
And I didn't even mean to do that.
Right.
I like it.
All right, because what are we wrapping up today?
We are finally wrapping up Alchemy of Souls with part 2.
30 episodes.
30 long episodes, but
like
well worth the ride. Yes. So I guess let's get to it, right?
Yeah.
So first and foremost, folks, and you're welcome for my accidental alliteration, which, speaking of like doing things late at night, this was me writing this script. So if it's loopy, you know why. We're talking about Alchemy of Souls Part 2. So there's not much of a spoiler-free section today. If you've watched all 30 episodes of the drama, then you are in the right place. If you have not watched all 30 episodes, or even any of the episodes, you're still in the right place because you love K-drama and we love K-drama and your Noonas are happy to have you. However, if you don't want to be spoiled, you might want to hit pause and dive into a fantastic frolic and fantasy romance. Couldn't help myself. It does have an accidentally, I think, again later. So yeah, consider that the spoiler-free section of the show, and let's jump right in. So first, a recap. And I called out Megan here. You're fixing it. You did because I did. Megan did not read the assignment.
No, I didn't. I did not read the assignment.
I did the assignment.
You did it very well.
Because
you did it very well.
Wrote, like, paragraphs.
Well,
and I had it
but
done
there are 3 sentences. So I said in 3 sentences or less, summarize the 20 episodes of Alchemy of Souls Part 1. And Megan summarized the entire series beautifully, I might add. But she didn't understand the assignment. So we'll go to Leah first. Leah, you were very succinct here.
Thank you. Magical world, power struggles, fated mates.
I mean, yeah, that's perfect.
Nice.
Okay. Have you seen that, like, kind of like meme where, like, it's a K-pop dance and there's like three dancers for one dance, and the one guy one K-pop idol dances at 10%. The other dances at like 100%, like normal, and then the other one dances at like 150%. That's kind of what I feel like Leah was like 10%. I was like 100%, and then Amy was like 150%.
But I don't think it has to do with effort, because I think there's good effort put into what Leah did.
I'm saying it's like the amount of detail, yes. I guess I should say. Okay. So I went kind of like I don't know. I pulled back a little bit and went vague, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so here's mine.
Who has a train in their neighborhood?
That was Megan.
That is mine.
I never hear any background noise in anyone but me.
You didn't? You actually heard that train?
Yeah, I did.
I've been hearing the train the whole time.
Oh, yeah. It's like it's very close to my house. There were ducks walking through my front yard today, just like gallivanting. I'm like, where are you going? Like, where are you? Where?
It's like a turtle mage.
Yeah. And we just found baby bunnies under our front porch too. Yeah. So anyway, okay. Sorry, off topic. So this was mine. A brooding yet scrappy sword-wielding bastard, because I can't stop, I'm sorry, begs a soul-switched assassin to teach him to be a mage. While learning the truth about his birth circumstances, he falls in love with the assassin, while she also unveils a cover-up that killed her father and changes the trajectory of her revenge plan. The enemies converge on the couple, resulting in both of their deaths. And then I added, tragic!
And look, 3 sentences can be as long as you want, because you can have an infinitely long sentence if it's punctuated correctly. So here we go.
Mine were probably not punctuated correctly.
I'm not grading today. My husband, Jang Uk, wants his gate of energy opened so he can become a true mage, and entrusts a soul-shifting assassin, Naksu, to be his master and help him do it. Jang Uk and Naksu fall in love and work together to save Daeho from Gwonju Jinmu, Naksu's former master, and his band of baddie soul-shifters. Jinmu controls Naksu with divination bells and compels her to kill Jang Uk, after which she jumps into the lake as she petrifies, while Jang Uk rises like a phoenix from his funeral pyre.
Cool guys don't look at the
I know. Well, and I thought of that song too in watching the Black Knight trailer, because he totally walks away from a
he totally does. It's the best. I saw that in the Black Knight trailer too, and I was like, yeah.
So funny.
I know. Okay, so if we can get a tiny bit superficial here, can we talk about the hair? The men's hair. Jang Uk says goodbye to the mullet, and Donggu says goodbye to being blonde, and Pak Jin lops off his luscious L'Oreal, he's so worth it, locks. So, okay, disclaimer, Amy wrote this script on less than 4 hours of sleep and loves alliteration. So do I, though. Alliteration is great. So anyway, we digress because there are some very important questions at hand. Some this or that questions, so here we go. Which do you choose? Jang Uk with a mullet or without? I went with.
Without.
I
did a plot twist. You thought I was going to say mullet, and I said without.
But it's because it's this particular mullet. Like, I loved him. He's beautiful in part 1. But the mullet kind of feathers itself bigly in the back, and I love it. I'm better with it out. Yeah, without it.
I loved the feathering. However, I felt like this new haircut fit the new serious personality.
Totally.
It did.
By the way, this question makes me feel like I'm ordering a Philly cheesesteak because you say like with onions or without onions, and so that's what I feel like I'm doing. Just like without. Okay, so Donggu, blonde or brunette?
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Blonde.
I mean, clearly brunette.
I mean, God, he looks so good as brunette, but I just love
He
the
does.
blonde on him.
Again, fitting the character. Like, I like that. That was just so his character to me.
Like, yeah, I really like that they gave them. I mean, of course, 3 years have passed, but I like that their change in style seemed to fit like their character changes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Pak Jin full Fabio with gray streaks, or I'm a 53-year-old hot daddy 2023 mullet.
We're gonna 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, sure.
Fabio.
Gray streaks. What?
No, well, that's
Full
that's
Fabio with gray streaks.
Full Fabio with gray streaks. That's one way. Or the hot daddy mullet.
Oh, hot daddy mullet. Hot daddy mullet.
Okay.
Because I felt like the gray streaks popped in the second iteration so much more.
Oh, I didn't notice him as much. I noticed him more with the long hair.
Oh, see,
I think he was more
felt
salt and pepper in part 2.
Look, in real life, the hot daddy mullet. But in this drama, I don't know. He owned that wig so much.
It's and you have a Kim Shin thing, and so it all plays out. I felt like the hot daddy mullet for me really like it gave you enough to hang on to, but you weren't like going to the horse track.
And Pak Jin got a better wig than Kim Shin.
Yes, he did, because Kim Shin had like the Goryo mullet, and yeah,
I feel like somebody went to like what's the Halloween store that opens every Halloween?
Spirit
Halloween.
Yeah, don't at me, Spirit. But like, yeah, I felt like somebody just like went into like the bargain section there and was like, "Oh, this will do."
We should probably do like some sort of snack or like bonus Patreon pod about like some of the bad wigs.
That'd be a good one.
Wigs.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so now that we have the important stuff out of the way, let's set up Alchemy of Souls Part 2. So, I mean, take some drugs and settle in. Because
I hope you can read that.
It's like a wall of text.
Okay. I'm going to try to read this with inflection to make it interesting.
Good luck.
Okay. Our story begins 3 years after Muduk Naksu runs wild, killing Jang Uk and then jumping into a lake, only for Jang Uk, now possessing the ice stone inside of his beautiful "I was conceived out of the union of my biological parents, but with the soul of a king body," to rise from his own funeral pyre.
I mean, applause.
So insane.
Yeah, I'm going to keep going. I got it.
Well
now.
written and well read. Way to go, guys.
Now Jang Uk, who couldn't wield an ounce of magic at the beginning of part 1, is the most powerful mage in Daeho. He's an angry, brooding, powerful mage who is still not over both being killed by and losing Muduk. Does he let that power go to his head? No, because he's Jang Uk. Instead, he uses his powers for good, chasing down and ridding Daeho of soul shifters. When one chase leads him to Jinyuan, he finds a young woman locked away in an annex and finds out that she is Jin Buyon, the young priestess who's been missing for 10 years. Naturally, he helps her escape. She suggests they get married, and he reluctantly agrees, not knowing what we already do, that Buyon's body has 2 souls, her own and Naksu's. What ensues are 2 different storylines, the slow burn love story between Jang Uk and Buyon, and the story of mages trying to uncover what is going on at Chunbugwan. What?
That's the palace, Chunbugwan.
Yeah. What is going on at Chunbugwan with the queen and Jinmu and a plot to dry out the earth in order to obtain another ice stone. It's a lot packed into 10 episodes, especially when we haven't even mentioned the turtle yet. So let's talk about the switch. Most of part 1 focuses on Jung So-min as Muduk, and we loved Muduk. Part 2 goes back to the actress who played the original Naksu in the opening of part 1, Ko Yoon-jung. What was your initial reaction to realizing there'd be no Mooduk in part 2? And how did you feel about the switch by the time you finished all 10 episodes?
Okay, so I didn't mind the switch. As much as I loved Mudaki, it never felt, quote, right that she was kind of walking around with someone else's face and that it was just going to not be uncovered, I guess. It just felt unfinished. And I think this is a testament to the two actresses who played Naksu, because the character always was about the soul to me rather than the body. I don't know if it was like the writing of it, the acting of it, but I always felt connected to like the soul of Naksu. And I don't know, I think the Mooduk body always felt temporary. And at the beginning of season 2, like before the reveal was made, even though I was like, I got a hunch, unlike
knowing who the hero was.
Unlike part 1 where I didn't even know who the hero was. I got, but still I felt like Booyeon talked like Mooduk. Like the inflections in her voice, unless it was just like me imagining things or wanting it to be that way, but I really got like major Mooduk vibes or Naksu vibes. Like I did truly feel like that was her soul in there. And so I guess, that made the entire situation palatable to me. I mean, can I see like how some viewers wouldn't like it? Like, sure, but it did work for me. But it did make me wonder, though, if I would have felt the same way if the Jang Uk actor was switched. So if we had a different actor playing Jang Uk, like I wonder if I would have also felt the same, or if I was too attached to EJ Wook. I don't know.
But I feel like that wouldn't have made sense for the story where this
I know,
did.
But I'm just saying if the story had to do that, because
Right.
it made sense for her. Well, if the story had been switched, and it would have made sense for him, but would I have been too attached to EJ Wook? Because I think I was.
Yes.
Okay, so look, this is where I'm a little lost. And this probably happened because I was often watching this drama after midnight. And so I'm looking for some help. Okay. So I liked it overall. But where is Mooduk's body?
Oh,
you missed
something. You missed something.
Okay,
so they fished Mooduk's body out.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that is the body. Master Lee makes a comment that the soul wants to match the face. And so the body's face changes to Naksu's face.
Yeah, so it's the same body, but the face changes because the face has to match the soul.
Okay, I did miss this.
Which I don't get that because
the whole time I've been like, where has Naksu's original body been? Okay, because I was like, very
no
much like,
no other soul shifter has that happen, but it's something. It works magically because there's two souls in the body for whatever reason, and so Booyeon is trapped in there. But Naksu's soul has control, and so that's the face. And so that's the face. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly, though,
and then in season
when Naksu's soul gets pushed out, though, the face does not change.
Nope.
To Booyeon's face, it just works because the writers say it does.
And okay.
So what? Yeah.
Gaslight me, Hong sisters.
I mean, I felt like that happened a few times. I felt like if I closed my eyes for too long, I missed something a little wild, and that was one of them.
Yeah. I mean, when I was talking
because
about,
I had been wondering, like, I was like, where was Naksu? Like, did they just have her like hung up somewhere, like by her toes? Like, I was so confused.
Yeah, no, her body was burned. The real Naksu's body, wasn't it? Yeah. Right. So yeah, I mean, I remembered that part because I thought it was so strange. I was like, so that's a really neat way to just make this work, is to say the soul has to match the face. And so it is Booyeon's body with Naksu's face.
And the soul has to match the face never except for this one time.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
But there's also two souls in this body, so anything goes.
Right, and it's technically not like
Jin
a
Sol-
child, it's Sol Ron.
It's Sol Ron,
like
right.
all powerful, so I don't know.
And she's all powerful except her face won't match it because she's just kind of like Illin in the back somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, she's like a dormant werewolf shifter. She's like the dormant wolf in a werewolf shifter who can't shift.
Yet she has enough control to say, you know what? Peace out. You can have the body now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the incongruencies of the double body.
Still don't care. Because the story worked for me. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I loved Jung So-min and the character of Mooduk. She was an utter delight. But and I said this in like the setup for the question, like Ko Yoon Jung is Naksu. What the haters forget, because there are a lot of haters online who hated the switch. They don't hate the actress, they hate the switch, is that she is the actor who opens the whole series as Naksu. Like, it makes sense that she ends the series in her true body.
I do want to say, I don't, people are going to get mad, but I also thought that Ko Yoon Jung had better chemistry with Lee Jae Wook. Wait, am I saying the right actress?
Yeah, you are.
Oh,
I thought they both did. I thought they both.
I thought the like heroine essentially of part 2 had better chemistry with Lee Jae Wook, but that's just me. And it also could have been. I don't even want to say it's like the actress. I would say the 2 characters in part 2 had better chemistry, and I think there was like a reason that part 1 didn't have as much chemistry, because there was like so much to work through. Whereas I feel like part 2 could start off the romance a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I mean, the second one was just so much heheavier on romance in general.
Yeah, and I loved that. I mean, I was getting like butterflies in my stomach in a way that I didn't get in part 1. I got butterflies.
Yeah, same, actually.
Okay, so in part 2, Jang Uk morphs from the earnest yet ambitious golden retriever he was to a cold, brooding recluse. And he got a haircut. What do you think of the transformation?
So before I started watching it, Amy, you described him as going full Moon Supreme in season 2.
I did.
From Love Between Fairy and Devil. And that is the best description. Like, you nailed it. He went full Moon Supreme, and I love it. He's heartbroken, haunted by wraiths, and carries this like great burden of responsibility with this like ice stone inside of him. And I felt
choo choo.
How do you hear that? I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It's just hilarious.
Yeah. And I loved it, and I loved his journey.
Yeah, he was.
Like, he really had to grow up.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, because he was. I mean, before in part 1, it was all about like he just wanted to access his powers. He wanted what everybody else had, right? Like, it wasn't. He had no main agenda, only to just come into his power, and he was pretty naive about all of the sort of palace intrigue and everything that was going on. And of course, he did not know the story of his, soul backpack birth either.
He was a little like a Luke Skywalker.
He was. Okay, so Megan.
Oh man, I just want to have power.
Luke Skywalker.
I just want to have power. Oh, do not describe Star Wars to me. I swear to God.
I just want to make sure you know the reference.
I do, actually.
No, you don't. But
yeah,
I just know the word exists.
He is like, yeah, he went Moon Supreme all the way. Like, for my fantasy readers out there who know Sarah J. Maas, we've talked about this before in the Court series. Like, he goes full Rhysand, which is how we described Moon Supreme. He is not the earnest, naive Jang Uk that he was in part 1. He is truly haunted and alone, and I loved it.
I loved it too. I'm never going to say no to boo-boos. I liked it so much that I could have used even a little more.
Yeah.
Like, I liked that he was haunted by wraiths. I wanted more of that. I wanted just a little bit more
trauma
and damage.
Yeah.
We wanted full trauma and damage.
I feel like I could have gone 12 episodes and just hoed in more on some trauma and damage.
I would have totally been there for it.
I can't believe I'm saying this because I kind of also wanted this to be over because I was just like, it was a lot to watch 30 episodes of Alchemy of Souls, but I did kind of want wanted part 2 to be longer. Another 2 episodes would have been great.
It's because they gave us such a great romance, right? And that's what we were like on the edge of our seat sort of waiting for in part 1. Like, when we were talking about the pacing of part 1 and how we kind of like really just get to the romance in the end, it's because the romance is really part 2, and we loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it was. That's the thing. It's like, God. And someone, I think, even said it was like in an Instagram comment, they said part 2 is the fairy tale.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's right.
It is. So speaking of the romance, Jang Uk and Boo-yeon have some immediate chemistry, but both think it's because the priestess can access Naksu's memories via the Jade Stone. Still, Boo-yeon would rather be with him than be a prisoner in her own home, while Jang Uk waffles between the confusion of wanting her near and pushing her away. He wants her near because she has the power to remove the ice stone, which would end Jang Uk's life, but also put him at peace. Hello, Kim Shin, anyone?
I know. I was going to say that. I was like, that gave me major goblin vibes.
But he continually pushes her away because all she does is remind him of his first love. Eventually, Booyeon does fall for Jang Uk, but she wants him to love her for her and not because she might be able to access Naksu's last memories and tell him how she felt when she plunged her blade into his chest. When Jang Uk finally allows himself to grieve for Mudok and move on, he falls for Booyeon. Or does he? Fated mates? A soul falling for a soul? Or just a coincidence? What's your take on the Jang Uk Booyeon romance? Does he love her for her? Or has his soul simply found its mate once again?
So, I have a question, because I know in the last episode we talked a lot about like the soul backpack, right? Like, so what happens if like a soul enters someone else's body, has sex? Does the sperm that's fertilizing the egg, is that like the DNA of the body, or is that the privy and purview of the soul that's driving the ejaculation? So in this, what I start to wonder is like, let's say I shapeshift or I soul shift into someone else's body, and I've kind of forgotten my memories. And as I have like a dawning awakening in this whole other hot body, notice my husband's like catching feels for me. Am I like, hang on,
but he thinks you're dead. He thinks you've been dead for 3 years.
Yeah.
And you killed him.
I know, but I mean, like I'm also the person that when I die, if I die first, I want him to like boil me down into like one of those little like dead body cubic zirconium rings, and then like propose to me with like his next partner, because he won't stay on the shelf long. Men never do. So I want him to be like proposing with like my little like body in a ring. So I mean, I've thought about this before.
What the hell, Leah?
These are things I talk about with him, and he's like, okay. But like, yeah, so yeah, some time has passed when you put it that way. But I mean, like, imagine coming to, Megan, and you're like in like, I don't know, somebody's body, and being like, what's up, Neil? But like, I don't know. I'm just like, is there a thing there, or am I overthinking it? Because like, I'm also pretty free love, like live and let love. Bodies be in bodies, however feels good.
So you're saying that are you asking if she should be pissed that he fell in love with someone else?
Kind of.
3 years after she killed him, and 3 years after she killed him and died.
Well, it's a little awkward to be like, so you're falling in love with this hot new body, but hey, it's me again.
It's me. Hi.
Like you thought you were moving on, but nope. Here I am.
I'm back.
Yeah, it's like fucking Jack Nicholson through the door.
To me, it was romantic because he needed closure and to move on, and so he had that before he fell for Booyeon. And then, yeah, surprise, Booyeon is Naksu. Everybody wins. I say, because I also think that
he had closure. I don't think he ever had closure.
I do.
No, he does. He does. He finally grieves Mudok.
Yeah,
like, he never cried for her. He has a whole scene like where he grieves her and says goodbye.
Yeah, and he goes to the cliff like on purpose to like say bye. Yeah, like, but to close that door.
I mean, I saw him do it, and I get where they were going. I didn't feel like the door was really closed.
Well, we knew the door wasn't closed, but like. I guess like,
he wasn't like moving, because even if the door was really closed, then it is a bummer.
But the Hong sister said he did. So.
Moving on. Just kidding. It's the same flavor in a different package.
You are taking all the romance out of Fated Mates, which you love.
I do. No, I'm actually just kidding around. I really liked it. I thought it was, and I actually thought it was Fated Mates. I don't think he fell in love for the new flavor. I feel like he just fell in love with the same flavor. But since she is a multifaceted character, as we've talked about, he just was falling in love with like a different side of her rather than the Mudok side.
Exactly. And that's kind of how I felt about it, was that he, like, because Mudok, Naksu, whatever her, whatever we want to call her, even though it is her soul, she's not the same person that she was 3 years ago, right? She's been living in this other body for 3 years with other experiences. She's a different person entirely as well. So yes, he falls in love with who she has become in the past 3 years, but then gets the added bonus of it also being his first love. And so I do think it's fated mates, but I also like I'm agreeing with you, Leah, is that...
And let's be real, she hasn't done a lot for 3 years.
No, she's just been chilling in the annex. Mm-hmm. She's had a lot of time to think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's both. I think they are fated mates and that their souls found each other again. I do think Jang Uk fell for Booyeon as she was. And I also think it's because he felt like a connection there, as did she. Like, I think it's both.
Yeah. He falls for Booyeon.
Yeah.
But then realizes that it's the soul of his first love. And again, everybody wins.
I mean, I truly think like their souls were always going to find each other again. And I feel like all the other characters are like, are you kidding me? Because of course they're finding each other again. You know what I mean?
So we will break from our soul backpack theories for a moment and go to our favorite part of every episode, which is the Kpop Rec of the week. And Megan, what do you have for us this week?
I am so excited about this song. It's been in my head nonstop. So it is Macarena by Blitzers, and that's Blitzers, Blitzers. And they're fairly new. I think they debuted in like 2021 or something like that. This song is so addicting. Oh my gosh. The music video is so much fun. Like, there's like zombies, but the costumes are really great. At the end, they have like dance battles with these zombies. Like, it is the best. The song is great. The dance is great. I just cannot get it out of my head. I posted about it in our Patreon. A bunch of people agree. They're like, oh my God, this song's great. So I feel like I'm getting everyone addicted to it with me. So yeah, if you just want to like groove and dance and just have fun with K-pop, which, you know, sometimes just isn't always the case. Some of the songs can be like really serious and stuff, especially some of the songs we've wrecked recently. So just have a good time. And yeah, it's Macarena by Blitzers.
Awesome.
Macarena, Macarena, Macarena. That's how it is.
Thank you for that.
So good.
If only we could switch you into a K-pop artist body. If you enjoy our podcast, you have our patrons to thank, at least in part. Afternoona Delight Patreon allows us to keep creating content for y'all to enjoy. Thank you so much to everyone who is supporting us there. And not to brag, but our Patreon community is pretty awesome. And you can join at a tier that feels good to you. Gain access to fun perks like K-drama posts, monthly Patreon-only bonus podcasts, and even a live K-drama support group on Zoom. Because we know firsthand what it's like to have no one to talk to about those crazy plot twists, amazing characters, and all those feelings. And look, no one should have to walk that walk alone. So learn more by visiting afternoonadelight.com. That's www.afternoonadelight.com. And hey, while you're on the website, you can check out Afternoona Delight podcast merch, find links to book recommendations, bop along to our K-pop Recs, glow up your skin with K-merch Recs, find all of our social media, and a link to our email so you can send us recommendations or feedback. And hey, while you're at it, why don't you pop over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review? It really helps with our discoverability. 감사합니다.
So what kinds of things do you both like to do when you drive?
Pay attention to the road? Is this a trick question?
All right, how about when you fold laundry?
Why am I folding laundry in this scenario?
Read, friends. I was trying to get you to say read.
You could just ask us if we like to read when we drive, or... Wait, how are you reading when you're driving?
With Audible. You know, our sponsor, who is the leading creator and provider of premium audio storytelling, enriching the lives of millions of listeners every day. I listen to audiobooks on my commute to work, in the car.
Oh yeah, I totally do that. I love my Audible subscription.
Then why'd you leave me hanging with the whole driving thing? Forget it. It's not important. What is important is that now our listeners can get a 30-day free trial of Audible Premium Plus from Afternoona Delight. Do you know what they get with that free trial?
Actually, I do. They get 1 audiobook credit, 2 if they are Prime members, which is good for any premium selection, and they get to keep that audiobook.
They also get the whole Audible Plus catalog of podcasts like Afternoona Delight, audiobooks, guided wellness, and Audible originals.
And with the Plus catalog, you can listen all you want, no credits needed.
And Audible sends you a reminder email before your trial ends.
Sounds like a great way to spend 30 days to me, especially if you're heading outside for a walk, have a long commute to work, or just want to hear one of many talented narrators really bring your book to life. All you have to do is go to www.audibletrial.com/afternoona to sign up, and you're ready to download your first listen. Enjoy!
All right. Well, Amy, leaving beside Megan and her vocals for a moment, what's going on with our extended cast?
So, Park Jin and maidservant Kim. After the tragic end of part 1, Park Jin has removed himself from Songrim, leaving Donggu as its leader to lead a quieter, short-haired life. He and maidservant Kim are still not quite a couple because she feels like she is all that Jang Uk has left, so she can't bear to leave him alone. That leaves Park Jin with a lot of time to cook. With magic. Yet everything he creates still tastes terrible. Why? He's a mage. I couldn't get past, like, I seriously fixated on this while I'm watching. I'm like, you're a mage. Why does your food not taste good? Because he's cooking it with magic, too. He's not.
Yeah, how is it terrible? How are you adding too much salt? Come on now.
Because it was hilarious.
It was a really good running joke, though.
Yes, but did you enjoy, like, the continued slow burn of their romance?
I mean, at this point, like, it was cute, but I was really, really, really wrapped up in the main romance in season 2, so I really wanted, like, that all the time. I got to talk about their deaths. The death. My God, I just have to. Okay, the whole death scene of maidservant Kim had me. Well, a fake death because she didn't die. Had me like screaming at the screen because it was just the whole thing felt so unnecessary. Because I didn't. They're like, we need the door closed. So I'm like, then get the fuck out and close the door.
I know, leave the other person in there.
Well, also,
sorry, it's Jin Ho Young. Leave her.
Yeah.
She's a mage. Leave her.
Also, why is she not running out and then just closing the door? Like, why are you holding back this apparent army of relics?
That's what they're doing. Is she has to hold back the relics. If they run, this is the logic. This is the logic. If she lets go of her magic for even a second, it's going to be relic central out in Daeho.
Here's the thing: is what I wanted to see is were we just going to have like a pot zipping around? Like, I wanted to know what the relics like sentiently did.
Well, think about the dog. Like the dog who sniffed out. Like it's like
yeah. Okay, look, the dog is
the
human.
mouse that ate toenails.
But when you walked into the room of relics, there were a lot of things there that
right,
were just
like the mirror. Like what's the mirror?
So was the mirror going to just be like
it's going to be like Beauty and the Beast?
I was just going to say it's going to be like
yes, that's what I was thinking.
It's the ending. It's the end battle of Beauty and the Beast. There's just like a wardrobe running around.
Yes, this is a perfect analogy.
A footstool that's barking.
That's what that was. I believe yes, like the feather duster with like a French accent.
Lumiere.
I can't. My stomach hurts. Oh God, I'm picturing it. But I guess the whole thing drove me crazy. And also, like, they've left that door open for like a long time in the past. And I know they're like, oh, she's always there to guard the relics. I was like, she wasn't doing shit before. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, it was because of the Firebird, though, wasn't it? Was because wasn't it because the Firebird got out? That's why all the other relics were getting loose because they stole the Firebird. They stole the egg of the Firebird, and that's what was releasing everything else. So it was different.
I mean, go ahead, gaslight me, Amy. Tell me why. So anyway, it's fine. I was just like, I did not believe that they had died. So when I felt like I was being faked out. I don't know why. I don't know why I thought it wasn't happening. Maybe there was just some like writer part of me that is like, why would they kill them though? You know? So I don't know. I didn't like that. That's all. That's like the one, I guess, thing that I didn't love the death fake out.
Well, the reason why I didn't love the fake out is because I don't like death fake outs. Like I don't like death fake outs. Like I think it's a cheap plot device. Right. And especially when he died, I mean, he had a sword through the back. Like, who just comes back from that?
Oh yeah,
and then he's just like getting his wound like blotted. Like, yeah. I know.
It's like I'm fine. I have a pierced lung, but I'm fine.
It missed the lung. Let's be real.
Yeah,
it missed all vital organs.
Vital organs. It was just the worst sword thrust of all times. Okay, so look, this is my quibble. And I mean, like, I'm saying quibble like I care. Like, I enjoyed this drama. I don't really,
Right. We all feel the same way.
Yeah. Is I don't want to get another review that's like, you only like romance when it's being sexy, because it's not true. But if you're going to give me more mature aged heroine, slow burn over 2-season drama, I want to see some tongue.
Yeah.
Like, let them be.
That's acceptable.
Sexually kissing at some point, rather than like the sexless older couple, because they are more my age, and I'm not just going to look at.
And you're not a dried up husk yet, so
not a dried up husk yet. Nor is maidservant Kim.
No, I'm with you there.
Yeah, I agree.
They got to have some spit to get the honey cakes down.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, Grace sent us a recipe for honey cakes and then told us we can buy some on Amazon.
Yep, and I'm buying them.
I think I'm going to buy them, but I also do want to make them. Like, I really strongly, it's just that a lot of the ingredients are like not stuff that I normally have in my pantry, so I have to hunt them down.
Yeah, it sounds good.
So, So-e and So-yul. At the end of part 1, So-e removes the blood parasite from her arm and lets it enter So-yul's fatal injuries in the hopes that the Jin blood from which the parasite was made will help heal him. It does, but because he doesn't take medicine from a stranger, and because Yul is a guilt-filled martyr, oh god, he is. He lets the parasite slowly eat away at his energy from the inside out. Like, really, So Yul? Did you enjoy this storyline? Did you ship them? Were you sad when Zoe died and still had no Chingu?
Can I just say that I'm laughing at my own writing because I don't even remember writing because he doesn't take medicine from a stranger.
Like, I really think you should write scripts.
That's how tired I was.
Yeah, on sleep deprivation a lot, because this is very voicey, Amy. A lot of voice in the script.
Oh, she really did have no Chingu.
Yeah, poor thing. She was just this, like, she looked great though.
Yes, she did. She got a haircut too. Let's just say she got a cute little bob. But I wasn't.
No, she had longer hair in part 2. She had the short hair.
Oh, she had the short hair in part 1. That's right.
Yeah.
It flip-flopped. Yeah. That's right.
And she had, like, prettier clothes.
She's beautiful. Yeah, she's beautiful.
She is. She looked great.
I did ship them, but mostly because I wanted So-yul's heart to mend after it broke in part 1. And I don't just mean because he loved Naksu. His heart broke for what happened to Jang Uk and Moo Duk because he loved them both, and also because he felt responsible for not doing anything when he knew that Moo Duk was Naksu the whole time. So
what was he ever gonna do? Like, that was my thing.
I know.
Like,
well, I mean,
just fucking kill her.
I know. Well, he wanted to take her away when he went back home. He wanted to just get her out of Daeho or whatever. But I mean, I wanted an HEA for him beyond just being like, I am the friend who sacrifices everything for those I love.
So, I did love the storyline, although, like, poor So-yul, like, cannot catch a break. Like, seriously, he's just such a sad sack. And I do think Zoe had an arc that gave her as much agency as she was able to have, despite her circumstances. And I like that. She was able to make some of her own choices. Which she did in part 1, but I think that carried through into part 2. I don't know if I necessarily shipped them, just because I didn't really think they had, like, romantic chemistry, but I wanted So-e to feel fulfilled. Like, because I know she carried guilt, and so I wanted her to be relieved of that guilt, and in the end, I think she was. So I was happy for that.
I think that I just never really invested in her, so this was always kind of like a half-hearted ship for me. Like, did I like be like, yeah, I'd like love to win the day here somehow? Like, sure, but like I just never really, like, this just wasn't a plot line that, like, I didn't like dislike it. I just never was like all in on it. I do want to speak to So-e, like, pour one out, right? Like,
Yeah.
I guess I was like,
Yes.
I'm sad, but like, I wish I felt sadder, especially when she was like holding the umbrella. And then we realized like how much the umbrella meant. I was like, God, I wish I was less of a monster and cared more. I was kind of like, okay, like, I mean, that's not good. I don't feel happy about it, but I'm not like, oh God.
Yeah.
But, so you'll, God, he was such a sad sack. And like, I do love a second male lead sad sack a lot. And he was really pretty being a martyr.
He was.
But I guess I never fully understood like what he was hoping, because like was like if he ever like, because he was like, oh, like sad that he didn't do more. But then I'm like, what you would have done is like split up the main lead. So obviously that was never a good plan either. So I don't know. I just felt like he never had a lot to do except just be sad and kind of in the way.
Yeah, he moped.
Oh.
He moped.
I agree. I think the script could have done a little bit better with him. They really didn't give him a lot to do but be sad. And
And be mortally wounded a lot.
all the time.
And then like
All the
suffer a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it all with aplomb.
Yeah, he did.
Great job.
He was a great sufferer for 30 episodes.
Oh my gosh, I was just reminded of something that I didn't even put in the script, but it made me think of it. Like, speaking of his suffering, when, for whatever reason, they have to carry his energy, she has to carry it in her mouth.
Stop.
And then that's when she and the crown prince realize who each other are, and she can't talk, and she's just like nodding with this ball of energy in her mouth. That was
whole plotline
hilarious.
Was insane.
It was bananas.
They're like, we need a lot of gold, and then we need
did
to
love
expand the energy, and she has to carry
I
it.
love
I'm like,
love
why?
it. Was bananas, but I loved
has
it.
to stay moist, and then they're like, don't swallow it. And then I kept thinking, if I had a soul in my mouth, what if I accidentally swallowed it?
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, what if she chokes and accidentally swallows or something? And
Do they have to wait for her to
what if-
pass it?
And like, what if she gags? Like, I have a bad gag reflex.
That was a big ball of energy.
And she never really puffed out her cheeks enough to
No.
really justify how much soul was in her mouth.
How much soul?
I mean, it was more than like a gumball.
Yeah,
It was.
huge.
It was.
The whole thing.
It was like a golf ball.
It felt. I will say, part of part 2, and not complaining, started to get into Tale of the Nine-Tailed territory.
It did,
and
but
I-
I loved it.
Yeah, the
loved
soul thing, and then like basically Frenching it back into his mouth in like
Yeah.
that was all. Yeah,
And then leaving the prince behind the wall of gold. But he's
yeah.
like, you're like when he lifts Booyun out, and then the prince holds his arms out like he's a toddler.
I love
And Jang Uk's like, yeah, you're a good man. Just don't move anything. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, Soyul, sad sack.
and he never got even a hair change.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. Anyway,
No haircut or hair color.
Everyone
for
else
him.
gets like a fabulous something, and he's just like
he's still in that brown idol haircut.
He needs a makeover. I mean, not that he does. He doesn't.
Look,
Justice for Soyul.
Justice, and look, that actor, we could see him in more. I think he has more up his sleeve to give us.
yes.
Agreed.
And second male lead candidate of the year so far.
In Guido, the prison realm, Jinmu thinks he's found another ice stone, but it's an empty stone that instead feeds on his energy instead of giving him power. Jang Uk and Booyeon leave him there to die, but the queen and Yul's uncle, Yoon-oh, chase after Jinmu for their own greedy reasons to find out where the last soul ejector is. I mean, this sounds bonkers.
We're in Tale of the Nine-Tailed.
Yes.
Yeah, this is where it got into Tale of the Nine-Tailed territory. Turns out the queen, in Shaman Chui's body, is the soul ejector, and Jinmu kills her to use her as a means to swap souls with Yoon-oh, trapping Yoon-oh in his dying body.
That was a
Eventually-
big reveal. You, in fact, are the soul ejector.
Yeah. Eventually, when Jang Uk unleashes the Firebird, Jinmu dies in Yoon-oh's body, and the good guys win. However, we have to address Yoon-oh's return from Guido as Jinmu. To quote a Reddit poster, somehow he was more Jinmu than Jinmu was in some scenes. So thoughts on Do Sang-woo's performance as Jinmu's soul in Yoon-oh's body? What is that? That was crazy!
Look, this was a personal big favorite.
Yeah.
So Do Sang-woo really hadn't done much for me before that point. Like, I mostly forgot about him until he would, like, wander on camera, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, like, one of the baddies, but, like, what ifs. suddenly I was like, hot bad daddy. Mm-hmm. And we finally had a villain that was cooking with gas. Honestly, if it was up to me, he would have been the villain for like 90% of the second half. Bump up like all the soul ejector stuff. Get him in that body. He was gone too fucking soon.
I agree. So my favorite is that when Jinmu returns from the prison realm in a new body, he immediately needs to slick back his hair and put on eyeliner before he resumes his like battle for power. Like the priorities of this man. This whole crazy plot line was insane. And I also agree, Leah, like he was so good when he's like smirking at the oh my god, he was a great villain.
And they kept doing like the cutbacks so we could like see like old Jinmu, and I was like, no,
like yeah,
we moved on.
We don't want the old Jinmu. We're like really fine with this new slicked hair guy.
Yeah, like I know that's Jinmu. I don't need to be reminded through various montages of the face shift.
And no offense at all to Jo Jae-yeon, who played the original Jinmu, but this was such a fun, over-the-top situation.
Yeah, also, like, you're giving us this crazy plot line, and you think, like, that's the one thing we're going to be confused about.
It was like, I needed a PowerPoint in the Firebird. I understood that Jinmu had swapped bodies.
Thank you. Give me more explanation on the Firebird dehydrating the Earth. That is what I did.
But seriously, I was Googling the prison realm just to make sure I got that whole scene straight and remembered it right, of like, you know, Jinmu killing the queen in Shaman Choi's body to get the soul ejector. And that's where I found that Reddit post where the guy's like, but he was more Jinmu than Jinmu. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. Like, that's the explanation. Yeah. Like, not just the hair slicked back, but also like he had a permanent arched brow to the extent where I don't even know if that was his real eyebrow, but I mean,
yeah, did they just stroll
like
it
somebody
on
tell me?
Like that?
Somebody tell me, was that a prop eyebrow or a real eyebrow?
A prop eyebrow.
He had a better arched brow than the Crown Prince.
Yes,
I'm not saying a lot.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was bonkers, and it was definitely Tail the Nine-Tailed territory, and I 100% bought it and was there for it.
Me too. I mean, I was along for the ride. Like, I was right there.
It just should have been more. Honestly, that's the problem.
Yes.
It should have been more. It was a much more interesting use of the villain.
Okay, so I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking I forgot about our favorite Crown Prince, Go On, and his turtle. As if. I was just saving the best for last. So tell me, please, how is a turtle the MVP of part 2? And do you have a favorite Go On turtle moment?
I love that was the question. Like, I was going to be like, oh, so many. The turtle and Crown Prince just... The favorite moment. I really liked when he would hold the lettuce and the turtle was sentient and reached for it, Amy.
No.
Megan and I have the same favorite part.
No. Well, I have a lot. I have a lot of favorite parts. I do need to just say this one thing. That was a freshwater turtle.
Yes.
I said this in our Patreon live.
I fully...
Like, I have a beef with that. They have him, like, just launching himself into the sea. I was like, he would die.
I was hoping that was not really the sea and that there wasn't a stunt turtle that was damaged in the shooting of that.
Right.
I had the same thought.
Please tell me that he's some sort of magical turtle that can survive in saltwater, because that is a freshwater turtle. And
the way they talked about it, like, well, there he goes. And I was like, no.
I was like, someone rescue him. He's gonna die.
We both love the part where the turtle was his reason for siding against Jinmu. Because he got rid of my turtle. He's like, I want to say that I'm siding with you, Jang Uk, for some big noble reason, but really it's because Jinmu got rid of my turtle.
Got rid of my turtle. And it's just a turtle of all things.
I know.
Well, I mean, it's a spiritual guide.
Right.
In turtle form.
Right.
So much more.
I do love turtles, but, you know, it was very cute. I did. I love the turtle storyline. I thought it felt very Alchemy of Souls Part 1. You know, like just the humor of it.
Which was good, because we did need a little bit of levity, because this part was a little bit darker.
So the ending. Whew. Master Lee originally helped save Naksu in Bu Yan's body, but with Naksu's face. And Jin Ho-gyong went along with it because he claimed that eventually only one soul would win out, and she hoped eventually the last mage standing would be the soul of her Bu Yan. Eventually, Master Lee realizes Bu Yan, because she was born using the Alchemy of Souls, might actually be the soul of Jin Yuan's original High Priestess, Jin Solran, which basically drives the nail into Naksu's coffin because her soul is no match for that of a priestess who is hundreds of years old. Long story short, is right before the final battle with the baddies, Naksu's soul disappears. Less than a day after she regains her memory and she and Jang Uk learn the truth that their souls have found each other again. True love lost, found, and lost again. But wait, after Naksu's selfless protection of Daeho, once the baddies are barbecued by the Firebird, Jin's... That's great. Jin Solran decides it's time for her eternal nap and lets Naksu return to her body to stay. So, thoughts on the resolution? Any quibbles?
I wrote this just so I could quibble. But it's a bonkers ending that I loved. And I loved the whole fated mates aspect. I love that Jang Uk finally grieved Muduk, let her go, and then fell for Buyan as Buyan before realizing she was Naksu, because even though I do think it's souls falling for souls, he didn't fall for her because he knew she was Naksu. He fell for her because he loved her. So here's my tiny quibble. Naksu regains her memories, and Jang Uk learns that this new love is his old love, and then they barely have a day together, knowing what they found before Naksu's soul leaves the body. Then generous old Solran, who's had enough of Daeho, lets Naksu go back to the body, and we never get a goblin-esque reunion where Jang Uk is devastated, having lost her again, only for her to return for good. We just get a flash forward to them being husband-wife relic hunters, which I love, and is also the name of the spin-off series that we want to write for Jang Uk and Naksu, Relic Hunters. But I feel like we were robbed of the tearful, emotional reunion, so I'll probably write one for our endings rewrite, the end.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, she tells Naksu, like, in, the soul space, wherever they are, that she can, return to the body. And then we just flash forward to, like, that they're back together, but we have to go through the whole, like, did maidservant Kim and Pak Jin have a baby? No, it's the baby, it's...
I know. I was like, fast forward.
I know.
Oh,
like, we know this is all bullshit.
Want.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yes, they're running around, like, hunting relics together, which is great, but we never get to see him grieve losing her a second time and then get to, like, their final reunion. And I think that was a bit of a jip. Mm-hmm. Did I love it still? Yes.
I mean, look, I watched this in an interesting way because I binged it pretty hard. Like, I binged it over 3 days where I, like, watched, like, one episode. Then I watched 3 episodes. And then I watched 6 episodes.
Oh my god.
So yesterday I had to yesterday I was like, uh-oh. Like, because I really wanted to finish it. I didn't want to, like, fake that I'd watched it or watch the final episode. Because I was like, I don't do that in general. But I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know how to do this. And finally I was like, I'm just going to go full bananas. And so starting at about 6 yesterday, I started watching it. And I finished up at about 1:30 in the evening or in the morning and got through it. So it was good because it was like hitting like boom, 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 boom. Like, I really got to see like what it's like to watch the whole thing right next to each other. Mm-hmm. And like, look, it's fun. Does it always make sense? No. Sometimes I was like, maybe it's making more sense and maybe I'm just really tired because I'm trying to like hammer through this. And like, I definitely got confused with the Firebird in a big way. And I got really confused about like the volcano relics that were connected to the Firebird. Like there were just some points that I was like unclear on. But overall, the character arcs, I really liked it. And I really liked the final ending reminded me of Tale of the Nine-Tailed. I know we're talking about Tale of the Nine-Tailed a lot, but it reminded me of Tale of the Nine-Tailed right before we had like the very weird ending of Tale of the Nine-Tailed.
Yes.
That I won't get into the plot spoiler, but to the idea of like, oh, we're off like fighting the baddies again. And I was kind of like, yeah. And it was like a fun note to end on. Although I wanted to see the Beauty and the Beast fight scene that they were going up against because they were chasing down the relics.
That's all I can see now is like
a broom.
Yeah,
who's on the other side of like that sword.
A broom growling. Yeah. So I would say like my one quibble that really bothered me was they talked about all of a sudden they're like, oh, in part 1, Muduk took this potion, and that's why the bells made her run wild. And I was like, wait a minute, there was no potion in part 1. Like, it just was, there was a little bit of like retconning there.
You did see them feeding it to the queen, though. Like, that was for real.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But they never, and so I was kind of like, I don't know. That was a little, that's when I was, but again, I didn't care. I really was unsure how they were going to end this, because while I didn't necessarily have like a lot of attachment to this like little girl, Boo Yan, I had some. Like, she was a little girl, and she was sweet, and she tried to destroy the ice stone because she knew it was bad, and then she was murdered.
I like her dad.
Yeah, I was so like. It's not like
no, it was Jinmu. It was Jinmu.
Or Jinmu, but the dad was like
he was there. He was there.
I mean, he didn't save her.
So I wasn't necessarily like rooting for this little girl's soul to die, and that's why I was like, how are they gonna do this? Because I'm not gonna be like satisfied if a little girl's soul dies. So the fact that there was like this twist of her soul being the ancient, soul Ran was really good, because then
I liked it.
Yeah, it made me feel satisfied when she was basically like, okay, I did my duty, and she like gave up the ghost because she lived 2 lives already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I thought that twist was really smart, really well done, and it left me feeling satisfied, and I did enjoy the romance. Again, I do think that's like, part 1, there was a lot going on. The romance wasn't necessarily the focus on purpose. I do think part 2 was heavy on the romance, and it like gave me butterflies. I really, really loved it. And overall, I love the show.
Yes.
And I don't really care about quibbles. I don't care that it's a freshwater turtle. Like, I don't, because the show gave me so many feels, and it made me so happy, and it also made me feel inspired as a writer. So all of that is why I love the show.
Yep. 10 out of 10. Would watch again.
I know. And I still see clips, and I'm like, oh, that's such a good show. Such a good show. I mean, truly.
It was a good show. I was watching it thinking it does have, I mean, it's kind of like if Goblin and Tail the Nine-Tailed had a little baby.
Yeah. Fair.
With whose soul would be in that baby? I think that's a good note to end it on.
It is.
All right.
Whose soul is it anyway?
Right. Thank you for listening, everyone, and we will see you next time. Annyeong. Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!